friends, I'm Amy from Amy Latta Creations, and I'm excited to craft with you today. We're going to be doing one of my favorite things, hand lettering, in order to make these really pretty wooden monogram coasters with some help from Scorch Marker. Here's what you need. First, you'll need the wood rounds that are going to be your coasters. You can use any size you like. Mine are about 3.5 to 4 inches in diameter. The next thing you'll need is the Scorch Marker Pro. You're also going to need a heat tool. This can be any kind of heat tool that you have on hand as long as it goes up to 1000 watts of power or 300 degrees. If you don't happen to have a heat tool, no worries, you can use your oven. In order to practice the hand lettering, I'd also encourage you to grab some blank scrap paper and just a marker, pen, or pencil that you have laying around. Are you ready? Let's get crafty. When most people think of hand lettering, they think of a style that looks like this. We call that brush script. And what makes brush script so unique is the fact that within every individual letter, you get a combination of thin lines and lines that are thicker. Traditionally, this is done with a brush tip marker. But when we want to do this style with a different kind of marker, such as the Scorch pen, we're going to need to do something called faux calligraphy instead. Faux calligraphy is what I like to call my fake it till you make it method. It's a way that allows us to artificially get those thick and thin lines without using pressure on a brush tip marker. Here's how it works. Anytime that your pen is moving across the paper when you write, it's moving in one of 3 directions: up, down, or over. We call this an upstroke. That's when your pen is moving away from you on the paper. So if I were writing my monogram, the A, I start with an upstroke. This type of movement, when you're going down on the paper, we call a downstroke. And when you're moving across the paper, we have a horizontal stroke, like when I cross my A. The trick to getting this kind of look that we want, the brush calligraphy, is that downstrokes are thick. All other strokes are going to be thin. So our job is to find the downstroke and make it thicker than the rest of the letter. So here's how it works. Let's imagine that you're going to use the letter B. Think about what happened when we wrote that letter with our pen. We moved down. That makes this a downstroke, so that means it's going to be thicker than the rest of the letter. Over here, we went up, so we're going to leave that alone. Then we came back down again, up again, down again, and finally up. We're going to draw those extra lines, go back in, and color to artificially thicken our downstrokes. Same thing with the C. We went up, transitioned to down, and back up again. So for each letter of the alphabet, whatever monogram you're going to do, think about how your pen was moving. Was it up? Was it down? Or was it over? Remember, up and over stay thin while everything else is going to be thick, all of those downstrokes. On my website at amylattacreations.com, you can find practice pages that will show you the entire alphabet, upper and lowercase, written in this style, because the trickiest part is figuring out where is my downstroke. The best way to do this is to think about what happened when I was writing this letter. Was I moving up? Was I moving down? Was I moving over? But sometimes it helps to have a sample alphabet to look at. So if you head to my website, you'll see those practice pages and printables, and then you'll have a sample alphabet to reference to help you with your own monogram letter. Now it's time to take this skill and transfer it onto our coaster with the Scorch Marker. The Scorch Marker Pro is one of my personal favorite crafting tools because it is wood burning made easy. As someone who's tried traditional wood burning multiple times with all kinds of regular traditional wood burning products and failed miserably, this was a real game changer. This marker has a dual tip. So one side is a bullet tip, which is what we'll be using today. The other side gives you a little tiny sponge brush, and you can dip it right into the marker's ink, and this is perfect for stenciling. Today we're going to be using the bullet tip to do our faux calligraphy just like we practiced it. If your Scorch Marker Pro is new, you're going to need to get it started. You'll remove the cap, and then you'll just press down on a piece of scratch paper until you see the ink coming out. Now it's time to mark on our coaster. You'll notice that the ink looks clear or almost a light pink, and that's what we want to see. So I'm going to do my A, and you'll see that the Scorch Marker right now just gives it kind of a wet look. So that's a good thing because I can see where I've been. I'm going to go ahead and thicken my downstroke and then cross my A with that horizontal stroke. Now it's time to apply heat. The way the Scorch Marker works is that when it's heated to a certain temperature, the chemicals in the marker ink react with the heat and actually burn into the wood. It's deep enough to be permanent, but fortunately, if you made a mistake, it's also shallow enough that you can sand the mistake away and try again. As we apply heat, we're going to want to keep the tip of our heat tool about 6 inches away from the surface of the project, and we're going to want to move it as we go. That gives an even coverage of heat and doesn't allow any one area to get too much concentrated heat at a time. Now this tip is going to get very, very hot when the switch is turned on, so make sure not to touch this. Also, if you're doing this project with kids, they can certainly do these first few steps on their own, but they're going to need adult supervision for this step. The more heat you apply, the darker the change will be. Isn't that beautiful? And so easy. And there you have it, a beautiful, simple, wood-burned monogram coaster. Wasn't that fun? All that's left to do is to apply any type of finish or sealer you like. Because this is permanently burned into the wood, you can put anything you want on top and it's not going to mess up your design. So you can use any kind of wood sealer or finish that you prefer. Now it's time to make a set and use them or give them as gifts. For more hand lettering tips, tricks, inspiration, and tutorials, make sure to come visit me at amylattacreations.com. You can also check out my 5 hand lettering workbooks, including the newest one, Hand Lettering Off the Page, which features all kinds of projects like this one, where you're taking your lettering off of paper and onto useful everyday decorative surfaces. For more about the Scorch Marker, go visit scorchmarker.com and be inspired.